What's up, everybody? So today is going to be challenging, slightly. Going to be doing the CVT fluid in a 2010 Nissan Altima. A little nervous because it's a good friend's car and he's trusting me to do the work on it. I appreciate his trust and I'm going to make sure I do a good job. But while I'm doing the work, I'm going to be shooting some footage so you guys can see how that's done. It seems like it's going to be pretty easy. There's some parts of it that's going to be a challenge, but I should be able to knock it out. He should be happy when I'm done. I'm also knocking out his front and rear brakes, so I'll be shooting footage on that too so you guys can see how that's done on this car. So like I said, this is a 2010 Nissan Altima. It's in pretty good shape, so this won't be too tough. And it should be a bunch of good footage for you guys. All right, here we go. So since I'm gonna be doing his brakes, front and back, and the CVT fluid, the transmission fluid, CVT fluid, I'm gonna jack the whole front of the car up and put both front wheels up in the air. And the best way to do that is to find a point under the center front of the car that will allow me to put the whole front end up. Instead of doing one side at a time and doing one wheel at a time, I can have both front wheels up in the air and have the car high enough up in the air that the CVT fluid will drain, and then I can be working on the brakes while it's draining. So that's what I'll be doing right here, is finding that location to put the car up properly. So I'll be underneath the car a lot and for a while. So what you want to do is just make sure when you are working under a car, you know, you have to be under it for any reasonable amount of time. Make sure that once you jack it up, you put some braces behind the wheels that will still be on the ground. You want to keep the car from rolling on the jacks so that there's no danger of the car falling off the jacks and injuring you or worse, okay? So what I use are these huge, heavy bricks like this. And I usually do one in front and one in the back. All right, to make sure, and I also do both wheels. So I'll be putting a set like that behind each of the rear wheels. All right, so keep that safety in mind, in addition to pulling the emergency brake up as well. Always try to make safety first, all right, guys? Okay, now that I have it located, I just want you guys to see between the two front tires, the driver's side, passenger side tires. So this is closest to the driver's side. This is where the CVT transmission fluid pan is located. Okay, it has about 2 dozen or so bolts around the perimeter of it that need to be removed. They're like 10mm bolts around the perimeter. The pan will allow you to get access about 90+% of the fluid, maybe even higher than 90, probably closer to 100% of the fluid resides here when the car is immobile and sitting. I'm waiting for it to get cool. It's kind of hot to the touch, but there's a drain plug in the transmission up around in here somewhere that will allow you to only get out about 3 quarts of the fluid. Taking off this pan and allowing all of that fluid to drain out will allow you to get closer to 100% of the fluid out and do a proper drain and fill, okay? You can let out 3 quarts if you feel like that's enough, but that, to me, that's not a proper drain and fill to get all of that dirty fluid out. Plus, you like to access these magnets that are in here that collects all the loose debris, metal particles that can damage your transmission, get stuck to the magnets that are inside this pan. You want to get those magnets out and clean them as well, all right? I'll show all that to you in just a moment. Okay, real quick, something I want to point out to you guys is very important when you're doing transmission fluids in any type of car, in particular this Nissan Altima. The fluid is put back into it through the dipstick, okay? You put your funnel in there and that's where you put your 6 quarts of fluid back in. To get this dipstick out, there's a clip right here. That's a clip. I don't know why Nissan make you work this hard to get the dipstick out, because if you ever want to check it, it'll be difficult to do without a proper tool. And that is a flat tip screwdriver, which needs to go in to the side. It pushes in a tab You got to do this with 2 hands. You'll be pulling on the dipstick cap while you're pushing the tab in. Like I said, Nissan wants you to work hard to get this thing out for some reason. And once you get the tab loose, you can then get the dipstick free, and that's where the fluid goes back in. All right, so just keep that in mind. You want to make sure you can get this loose and get this off before you drain the fluid out, because otherwise you'll be stuck with the inability to put fluid back in to your car. You're never going to drive it until you can get it back in. All right, so keep that in mind. It should be about 6 quarts of fluid coming out of this car, maybe 5, because some of it probably burnt down, but somewhere over 5 quarts of fluid coming out. So you want to be able to have a nice pan to catch that. Also put down something like cardboard. I happen to have puppy pad because I'm training a little puppy right now. We have a new puppy named Xena, a little dire wolf. She's being trained, so fortunately because of her, I happen to have some puppy pads, and this will be able to catch a lot of the, or some of the spillage that will come out from draining the pan. I'll show you how that goes. Okay, so removing the pan to get the fluid out causes the fluid to drain in a cascading-like fashion where it'll all kind of just pour out like a shower. So you want to make sure you strategically place your pan underneath, your catch pan underneath the oil pan, and remove the ball slow enough that the fluid doesn't all rush out at once, and have your something to catch the splash and stuff that'll be coming out. But strategically locate your pan underneath and slowly remove your bolts, and then you can allow the fluid to kind of rush out in that shower fashion that it does from taking the pan loose. I'll show you. Okay, so set your wrench with the 10mm adapter to loosen these. You want to set it for loosen, so you can turn it to the left and just start to slowly loosen from one end of the pan, and then work your way to the other end of the pan, loosening these up slowly. But start on one end, loosening up one side. That way your fluid will start to drain. Focus this camera. Your fluid will start to drain slowly. It won't all rush out all at once. All right, so what I did was I went around the perimeter of the pan, just making sure I could pop all of the bolts loose. Okay, you just want to make sure that you don't want to take them completely out. You just want to make sure that you can at least snap them loose. And you want to get all of them free, because the last thing you need is for one or more of them to be stuck when it's time to remove this pan completely and all the fluid is starting to drain out. So now that I have them all, I'm convinced that they all will come loose. Now I'm going to start to remove them all from at least this side. As you can see, the fluid's already starting to come out. And I got my pan in place. I'm gonna go ahead and take out these ones up in on this side of the pan, and then I'll start to slowly remove these from this side. But they're all loose, all right? So you guys can see the cascading effect I was talking about. Now that I have enough of the bolts out, this is how the fluid will come out. See that in that showering type of fashion. That's why you don't want to take them all out at once. You want to do them slowly from one side, from the front side, or from the back side to the front side. And then let this go for a while until it slows down, dramatically slows down, because you're going to want to move your pan around, and you're going to need to take out these remaining bolts right here. I still got about a half dozen left to take out so I can get the whole pan off and start to clean it up. But this is how the cascading that I was talking about, this is how it comes out. All right? There's several ways people show you how to do this. I'm telling you the best way. All right, so listen to me. You do not want to take all these bolts out all at once. Keep that in mind. Let gravity do the work for you. Some people try to pull on this pan. They try to put their finger there and pull it. Don't torque this pan and twist it. There's a rubber gasket that runs around the perimeter of it that keeps it from leaking. This pan is made of metal. Don't pull it with bolts still in it to try to make the fluid pour out. The fluid will pour out on its own. Gravity will allow it to do that. It'll help you out. Take out all but, my advice is to take out all the bolts slowly as the fluid is draining, all but about one or two on the far end, okay? And get those loose though, okay? And what you'll see is as you start to get out those remaining bolts, the remaining fluid will slowly pour out. You just gotta have patience. Let the fluid drain slowly, but do not try to drop this pan too soon, and do not try to speed up the process by pulling on the pan. Some people like to pull on it and try to make the fluid pour out faster. That's asinine. You'll end up giving this thing a little bit of a bend or something like that, and then when you try to torque it back tight with the bolts, you'll have a little gap somewhere that may allow the fluid to start to leak, and that'll be a nightmare. So just let gravity help you take these bolts out slowly and let the fluid drain out like that as you slowly let the bolts out like that. Eventually it'll all be out, and then you can finish out by taking the last bolt or two out and getting your pan off, okay? Okay, so with one bolt remaining, I didn't film it because I had to try to use both hands. You want to hold the pan with one hand while you're removing the final bolt with the other hand, so this thing doesn't drop. And then once you have that last bolt out, like I said, this is metal, so it has some weight to it. Now that you have that last bolt out, you can then slowly take the pan, let the rest of it kind of pour into the drain pan. But here's the inside of your fluid pan. There's the magnets I was talking about that catches all of the fragments that could damage your transmission. As you can see, it's got some, look at that, those little metal particles that get stuck to the magnets. You gotta take these magnets out and clean them off, get all this gunk out. But here's a good view of what your CVT transmission, some of it looks like. It's more intricate than this. But here's some of where the fluid is residing and coming out. All right. Okay, so those magnets, they go around here and here inside the oil catch pan. And the difference between a clean one is this. All right, and I like to take a Clorox wipe or something like that. Once you spray them off real good with brake cleaner, just kind of clean them one more time with your hand and make sure that there's nothing left. As you can see, there's nothing coming off. Here's the clean one versus one that's still coated with all of the metal fragments and gunk that it collects with the attraction that it has as a magnet. It's very powerful. So you got a very powerful magnets. It's amazing how much force they have when they're in the pan. You can hear and I can't even pick it up. I need to grab it with pliers to even lift it up off of here. And now I got it dirty again, but that's what these magnets do. They sit on these two tabs and they just attract all the metal and fragments that will harm your transmission. So you want to get those out and clean them up. This is my little dire wolf Xena I was telling you about. I'm training with pads. Hey girl. Hey. So now the oil pan is completely clean inside and out. You can hear the whole piece of metal, as well as the fragment magnets. They're clean as well. All right, completely fragment free. All right, moving on. Okay, so now that I got this clean pan ready to go back onto the car, I just want to point out something to you real quick, that now that all the fluid's drained, I can show you that around the perimeter of the CVT transmission, there is a gasket, a rubber gasket, okay, that runs around the perimeter. It's made of a thin rubber and it's pretty durable. I would suggest wiping it off with a dry towel or paper towel or something like that, but just make sure you leave it clean. You don't necessarily have to replace it every time you do the fluid change when the car is this young. I think this car may have less than 100,000 miles on it right now. I believe it's, I had to look and see. I don't believe Terrence put 100,000 miles on his car yet. So while the car is this young, you don't have to replace this gasket yet unless it's damaged. And you look at it visually and see that there's some damage to it, but otherwise you can leave it and just make sure you fasten the pan back on tightly. Make sure all the bolts are torqued properly, and it should be fine to reuse the gasket that's already here, all right? Just want to point that out. Okay, so the pan's back in place and all the bolts are in. Now I'm just making sure that the proper amount of torque is applied to each one so that they are all in tight and even, so there's no leaks. I'm gonna give each one probably 2 more checks to make sure that each one is torqued. so I don't endorse this product. It's just what they had available on the shelf when we went to go get the fluid. So, but this is what's going back in to the car. It's 6 quarts of this Valvoline CVT synthetic fluid. All right. Like I said, they ain't paying me to advertise for them, so I ain't endorsing them. I'm just showing y'all what we putting back in. To show you guys the importance of changing your fluid at the proper intervals, this CVT fluid should be changed every 30, at the most 50, but I wouldn't even try to go 50. I would try to go somewhere between 30 and 40, but look at the color of what came out, okay? Black coffee versus what's going back in. Let's see if I can do this basically one-handed. All right, so you saw what came out. This is what's going back in. Check out the color. It's more like pure honey. So we got black coffee coming out and the color of pure honey going in basically. So that's the importance of changing your fluid at the proper time intervals. Okay, so 2 good things come out of using a pan like this to catch your old fluid. One is you have the opportunity to take off this cap and funnel the fluid back into all the empty bottles. Once you put the fluid back into your car, you should have empty bottles that you can use to put the old fluid back in. So that's one good thing, is comes from using this. The other thing is that gives you the opportunity to take these bottles to your local auto store to have the fluid recycled, okay? Don't pour the fluid out into like a drain or down a toilet or down a sink or anything crazy like that, out on the curb or into grass. Take it, put it back into the empty bottles using your funnel, and take it to any auto store, maybe the store that you got the fluid from. They'll be glad to take it and they will dispose of it properly, okay? 2 good things, all right? Okay, so finishing up with the 6th and final quart of fluid. Halfway through this process, I went ahead and checked the pan just to make sure there are any leaks from removing the pan and putting it back on. You don't want to wait until after you've put all the fluid in. You want to kind of check it maybe after the 3rd quart is added. Just take a minute or so just to look and make sure that there isn't any of the new fluid dripping out, okay? Make sure the dipstick cap is back in place. And I'm not gonna get corny and try to show you how to check the dipstick and all this stuff to make sure it's properly, the fluid's at the proper level. It is. We put 6 quarts in, you saw it go in. Checking the dipstick doesn't confirm that when your eyes just shows you that, all right? So, not to mention, I don't feel like fumbling around with trying to get this thing back off again. So, here's the cap back in place. Let's test drive the car. All right. So the car has 61,000 miles on it. That test drive went well. Transmission felt pretty good. You know, sounded good, sounded better, ran smoother. I think my boy's gonna be pretty happy with the results of this job. So I'm gonna chalk this one up as done. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. So, you know, once again, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me and follow my journey, follow my antics, all right? Enjoy. Peace.